Bang. Silence. Every single hardened shooter on the range froze at the exact same moment. Danielle Cooper had only come to replace the paper targets. That was her entire job, to be quiet, invisible, and completely unnoticed. She wore ear protection that was way too big for her head and carried a stapler almost like it was a piece of armor. The range was always full of men who treated their rifles like extensions of their own bodies, laughing loudly, comparing their scores, and showing off for each other. Danielle always kept her eyes down and just tried to move fast. She knew she didn't belong here, and frankly, so did everyone else. As she stepped downrange, a sudden ceasefire was called, but one man stood apart from the others. He was calm, still, different. He wore no patches on his jacket, no ego on his sleeve. Just a quiet, unshakable confidence. His eyes followed Danielle, not with judgment, but with a strange kind of focus. When she finished swapping out all the targets and started walking back, a sudden gust of wind flipped one of them loose from its staples. She let out a small sigh and turned around to go fix it. And that's when it happened. A single shooter completely ignored the ceasefire. A round cracked into the dirt, so close that it sent a spray of dust up her legs. The range erupted in shouting. Danielle's hands were shaking, but she didn't scream. She finished stapling the target back into place, walked back to the line, and unclipped her ear protection as if nothing had even happened. Her face was pale, but her posture never broke. The quiet man approached her. "You didn't flinch," he said, his voice low. Danielle just shrugged. "Didn't have time?" A few people nearby laughed. Someone muttered that she was just lucky, but the quiet man didn't smile. He reached down, lifted his rifle, and held it out to her. "Take it." The entire range went dead silent. Danielle blinked, completely stunned. "I don't shoot," she said. "I know," he replied calmly. "You will." Someone in the crowd protested. Another person scoffed. A range officer started to step in, but the man just raised one single finger, and somehow, that small gesture stopped everyone in their tracks. Danielle hesitated for a second, then she took the rifle. It was heavier than she expected. Solid, real. The man stepped back. "No coaching," he said. "Just breathe, the same way you did downrange." Her hands steadied as she took her position. The rifle pressed into her shoulder, unfamiliar, but surprisingly grounding. She lined up the sights, exhaled slowly, and squeezed the trigger. Bang! The target jumped. It was a tight hit, not perfect but centered. Murmurs started to spread through the crowd. Danielle frowned slightly, adjusted her stance, and fired again. Bang! Even closer. By the time she got to the fifth shot, the entire range was holding its breath. Danielle wasn't smiling. She wasn't shaking anymore. She looked focused. Like this was something she'd been waiting to do her whole life without even knowing it. She fired her last round and lowered the rifle. The quiet man walked forward, checked the grouping on her target, and gave a single, satisfied nod. "That'll do." Only then did someone in the back whisper, "Who is that guy?" The range officer cleared his throat. "Sir, are you military?" The man finally smiled, just a little. "Used to be, SEAL." Someone else asked, a little too eagerly. He didn't answer. He just took the rifle back and turned to Danielle. "You stayed calm when it mattered," he told her. "That's a lot harder to train than shooting." Danielle swallowed hard. "I was terrified." He met her eyes. "Courage isn't being fearless. It's doing the job anyway." And with that, the man left without another word. For a long moment, nobody spoke. Then, the same men who had ignored Danielle earlier suddenly started to notice her. They respected her. Some of them even looked a little embarrassed. Danielle put her ear protection back on and picked up her stapler. She was still, and thus the person who replaces targets. But everyone on that range knew that something had changed forever. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like and subscribe for more.